Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just be officially updating you on some more latest news. So there's a lot to negotiate on this video today, but just going to give you a bit more additional information in regards to Alexis Sanchez. Now we do know that the transfer saga about Alexis Sanchez does continue to persist, and obviously we do know that we've got until the 2nd of September, obviously to offload the Chilean and that. So according to recent reports, Marzio has come out, who's a very reliable Italian journalist, and he's reportedly said, and he's very reliable when it does come to Italian transfers, especially. He's basically said now that Alexis Sanchez is close to joining Inter Milan from Manchester United, but other reports are saying now that Sanchez's loan move to Inter Milan, could be in doubt, and he could be set to stay at Manchester United following Anthony Martial's thigh injury he had sustained in our 2-1 defeat to Crystal Palace. Now we are waiting on the scan results for Anthony Martial. I am very hopeful that his injury is not too severe, because we do know how much of an imperative player that Anthony Martial is, and I think overall he's had a fantastic start to this season. I thought Martial was fantastic throughout pre-season. I think he's also done well in the Premier League so far this season. He's already scored 2 goals this season as Martial. I think he's also provided a couple of assists, and obviously he got his 50th goal for Manchester United against Wolves. And obviously we do know Martial had been given that number 9 shirt at the start of this season, and obviously we do know he's playing in that central position, because I think Martial looks more effective in that central position. That's where you mainly see the best of him in that. Obviously we do know now Martial, I think, is in his 5th season as a Manchester United player. Obviously we give him a new 5-year contract back in January, I think it was. But he's been overall fantastic for Manchester United. I know he's had his bad periods and that. He was inconsistent in the last couple of months of last season, just like Marcus Rashford was. Obviously we paid £36 million for Anthony Martial, potentially rising up to £57 or £58 million based on goals and achievements and that. So I'm very hopeful that his injury is not too severe. I do believe also Luke Shaw came off injured in the game against Crystal Palace. I think he sustained a hamstring injury, and recent reports have said he could be out for up to a month. So I'm hopeful that his injury is not too severe as well, because obviously we do know that Luke Shaw is our first choice left back and that. So now reportedly with Martial sustaining this thigh injury, Sanchez now could stay at Manchester United. It depends basically on how serious the injury is. If it's only a minor injury, Sanchez could still make his move to Inter Milan. But Inter Milan are hopeful that they can get a deal wrapped up for Sanchez within the next 72 hours. Reportedly, we are demanding Inter Milan to pay the majority of his substantial wages and that. Reportedly, I think Inter Milan have agreed to pay half of his wages, and reportedly, we've said to Inter Milan we want them to pay at least £5 million of Sanchez's wages in any loan deal, of course. So hopefully, this can go through, and I think we've also demanded Inter Milan to include the 20 million obligation to buy, obviously to make the deal permanent next year and that. But obviously for the majority of the summer, we've been working on trying to get rid of Alexis Sanchez, but obviously we have found it very difficult, reflecting on his substantial wages, because we know that Sanchez is on 400 grand a week, potentially rising up to 500 grand a week, based on the image rights and the bonuses, and he's the highest paid player at the club. He's also the highest paid player in the Premier League, and I did say his wages are having a really bad effect on the football club. But like I did say, I think we need to get rid of Sanchez, because he's one of the problematic players at the football club. And Sanchez is behind the likes of Daniel James, he's behind Martial, he's behind Rashford and that. So anyway, he's going to find game time very difficult. But I still believe Inter Milan, remain in talks with Man United over a possible loan deal for Sanchez. They have been in talks for several weeks. If Sanchez can make a move to Inter Milan, obviously it will be reuniting with Romelu Lukaku and that. But obviously we do know Sanchez has not yet played this season. Obviously hasn't been part of the squad this season, wasn't part of the pre-season squad, because throughout pre-season I think Sanchez had been on Copa America duty with Chile, where he actually had sustained a hamstring injury. So this is why obviously he hasn't been playing. Obviously Sanchez last week, I think it was on Thursday last week, he was actually not absent from training, but I think he did return to training on Friday last week. I think the reason he didn't train last Thursday is because of something to do with a visa issue and that. But you got reports coming out the other week, basically Reports came out the other week saying that Sanchez was going to be sent to train with the Man United under 23 reserves in order to send him out of the football club. But actually, the other week, this was prior to the Wolves game, Solskjaer denied speculation that Sanchez was obviously training there with the Manchester United reserves and that. So Solskjaer denied speculation. But I think Solskjaer's held talks with Alexis Sanchez regarding his future, and that is held fresh negotiations. Solskjaer confirmed around 3 or 4 days ago that there is a number of clubs that are interested in signing him and that, but he's indicated out with Solskjaer that Sanchez could still leave Manchester United this month and that. But I think if we can get rid of him in that aspect, it will be a really good business from the football club. Obviously Sanchez has been a huge disappointment since his arrival from Arsenal back in January 2018. He has been a huge disappointment. He's made 45 appearances and only managed to score 5 goals, and I think he has provided around 9 assists in that. And he's been a huge disappointment. He hasn't lived up to expectation levels as we all thought he would have done, because overall he's had a good career as Alexis Sanchez. He's had a bad career with Manchester United. He did really well with Arsenal. He had 4 good years with Arsenal. I thought he was exceptional for Arsenal. He also did well at Barcelona when he was younger, and he played under Pep Guardiola's guidance, but he just hasn't replicated any of his form at Manchester United. And looking at he is 30 years of age now. He is 31 in December, so you can quite say that he doesn't really have future at the football club. But there's been a bit of change of scenery, because Solskjaer, he came out the other week and he said that Sanchez still wants to be part of the squad this season. He did Solskjaer that he expects Sanchez to play a lot of games this season once he's fit, because obviously we do know Sanchez has been working to full fitness, because obviously he has been below on his fitness and that. And he did say Solskjaer he believes that Sanchez will come good this season and that. But I think we definitely need to get rid of him. And I think Sanchez anyway would be open to making a return back to Italy, because don't forget when he was a lot younger he played in Italy with Udinese, and I think he did have 5 good years with Udinese, did Alexis Sanchez. So, and I think also was getting rid of him not only because he's a problematic player, it'll also free up our wage bill and that. So I think Inter are willing to pay half of his wages. I think we're happy to pay the other half of his wages and that. But yeah, so we want Inter Milan to at least pay £5 million of his wages in currently any loan deal and that. So yeah, that's basically where the latest news about Sanchez. And obviously Sanchez's agent has been working on getting him a transfer away from Manchester United, because he was in the UK the other week to discuss Sanchez's loan move to Inter Milan. But a couple of weeks ago it said that Roma were interested in Sanchez. They'd been in talks with Man United over the prospect of taking Alexis Sanchez out on loan. But actually we do know that Alexis Sanchez had turned down a move to Roma and that. And he did reportedly say the other week that Sanchez was actually refusing to leave Manchester United and that. But yeah, I think we definitely need to get rid of him. But since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, we have seen 4 players depart the football club. Obviously we do know Antonio Valencia left at the end of last season after he served 10 years at Manchester United. He was a long-serving player. Obviously we saw Ander Herrera of course leave the football club, and it's a shame that we didn't recruit a replacement for Ander Herrera. Obviously Marion Fellaini left, and of course Lukaku of course left the football club a couple of weeks ago, and I think in that aspect that was good business for Manchester United. We generated a substantial amount for the player that was basically a flop, and obviously we recouped the money that we didn't initially pay for him from Everton a couple of years ago, and also we didn't recruit a replacement for Romelu Lukaku. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, this was the thing in his press conference prior to the Chelsea game on the opening day of the Premier League season. He explained the reason why we didn't get that replacement for Lukaku was to obviously prioritise the development of Mason Greenwood and that. I think it also confirmed a couple of weeks ago Joel Pereira had left Man United. He's obviously gone on loan to Hearts and that, but I do believe more players do need to be sold by the football club and that. Analysing throughout the course of the summer transfer window, we did recommend 3 good players to the squad. I'm glad that we got that experienced centre half in. I'm also very happy that we got that right back in and all that. But there's still deficiencies in that midfield, of course, that do need to be addressed in that. And I did basically say it was going to be hard for us to address all the problematic areas in one summer transfer window. Obviously this summer has obviously been Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first summer as Manchester United manager in that. But I think the vast majority of Man United fans, probably including me, have give Ed Woodward a lot of criticism. They've also give the board a lot of criticism and that. And there's a lot of Man United fans demanding Ed Woodward out of the football club. There's a lot of Man United fans demanding, the Glazers out of the football club and that. But I think the board, have come to terms and they realise, that they didn't back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer enough, throughout the course of the summer transfer window. So I think, regardless of what happens this season, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job should be safe for them at least this season and that. But Solskjaer did say, he was delighted with the summer transfer business. We spent £148 million on Daniel James. Daniel James, we have seen glimpses of how good he is so far. He started the season really, really well. But my overarching view on Daniel James is still a prospect and he needs time to develop and that. When we have played him this season, we have mainly put him on that right hand side. I know he's supposed to be more effective on that left, but we've actually put Daniel James on that current right hand side and that. Van Wan-Bissaka, he's been fantastic this season so far. His defensive abilities are good. He can intercept the ball and that, really, really well, and he's got all the ingredients required to become a huge success at Manchester United. And I think Harry Maguire, has started the season quite well. Wasn't so great against Crystal Palace, but I think prior to that he has done okay as Harry Maguire, and I think he's addressed our defensive deficiencies in that. But we're still short in that midfield. I do believe we also need right winger, because the majority of the summer was in search for right winger in that. But I think Solskjaer, whilst the window was open, he'd spoken with Ed Woodward about the lack of business in the transfer market and that. Because, like I said, I don't like the way the football club has been run in the last, 6 or 7 years or so. And, prior to the summer transfer window, we wasn't competitive enough in, the other windows. We didn't get on in January. Obviously, we didn't get our number one targets last summer and that. But I think the board have actually, assured that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be back in the next couple of windows. So hopefully we can make more investment in January. Hopefully, we can make more investment next summer and that. And we know this obviously really needs to happen and that. But the board have basically got to back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer more, because throughout the course of this summer they did assure that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would have been backed in that, and he did get some of the players that he wanted in, but he didn't get all the players that he obviously wanted in and that. But like I said, our expectations this season is obviously to probably finish in that top 4 and perhaps maybe win some silver. And obviously we do know that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got to exceed these expectations and that. Obviously we're not in Champions League football this season, and I did say in that aspect that would have gone against us in the summer transfer window, of winning all the players that we did want in, because I did say some players at a certain calibre and level would have had reservations about joining Manchester United and that. But I didn't initially say anywhere our aspirations, will be that top 4 at least for the next couple of seasons. And I think, it's probably going to take us at least a couple of years, to mount any kind of title challenge up and that. But hopefully, we can get a couple more players in January. I do believe, the players we was in for throughout the course of the summer, we'll probably reignite our interest in them players in January. So I think we'll definitely go back in for Bruno Fernandes in January. I think we'll go back in maybe for Christian Eriksen, but I think Christian Eriksen's preference is to move to Real Madrid. I think we'll go back in for Jadon Sancho next summer. So I think, the players we was in for will go back in for them. Maybe Mandzukic could go back in for him. Obviously went in for him towards the end of the transfer window. Obviously we were seeing him as a replacement for Romelu Lukaku, but I think the board have got reservations about bringing Mandzukic in, reflecting on his age, even though he is available for them reasonable figure. Also Dybala as well, you don't forget, was in for him throughout the course of the summer transfer window. So I think we'll probably, reignite our interest in them players. But, one of the priority areas to strengthen up, of course, is that midfield. And I've got element of concerns about that midfield, because I know we've got Paul Pogba in that, and there's still uncertainty regarding Paul Pogba's future, and there's still uncertainty, regarding Paul Pogba's future in that, and we do know for the entirety of the summer that Paul Pogba's been heavily linked with a move to Real Madrid in that. And like I said, if we can convince Paul Pogba to remain at the football club, we've got to try and avoid him getting injured this season. And I do want Paul Pogba now to remain at the football club with our failure, to land midfielder in, throughout the course of the summer transfer window in that. And Bruno Fernandes, would have been the right solution, to partner up with Paul Pogba in our midfield, and I would have been excited about the prospect of, you know, Bruno Fernandes playing alongside Paul Pogba in our midfield, because I think, you know, they complemented each other really well, you know, and I think, you know, they've done really well together in our midfield and that. But it's just a shame, you know, that we didn't get Bruno Fernandes. But, you know, we haven't really got a backup to Paul Pogba, and this is something that really concerns me. I know we've got quite a few midfielders, you know, we've got the likes of McTominay, Pereira and Fred and that, but I don't, as I do keep saying, I don't know if they are the long-term solutions for Manchester United. I know we have seen glimpses of how good they are. You know, McTominay started the season well. Obviously, you know, he's made 50 appearances now for Man United in all competitions. He made his 50th appearance against Crystal Palace. You know, he also did really well throughout pre-season, did McTominay. And when McTominay's playing well, you know, his defensive contribution's good. He plays between lines well, and I think he's played well alongside Paul Pogba in our midfield as McTominay. But I still don't know if he's the long-term solution for Manchester United. You know, he has still got a hell of a lot of development in him, but still, yeah, very sceptical about him. And like I said, I've got the same thoughts about Fred and Pereira. You know, we have seen glimpses of how good, you know, they are, but, you know, I just don't know if they've got all the attributes, you know, to succeed as Manchester United players. My other attribute on Fred is that, you know, Fred did really well in the games, you know, he participated in, you know, throughout pre-season that, and, you know, Fred's been mainly a disappointment for Manchester United. You know, Fred was an exceptional player at Shakhtar Donetsk, but he hasn't really replicated this at Manchester United. Obviously, you know, we paid just under £50 million for him last summer. To be fair to Fred, you know, he never really got the opportunity under Jose Mourinho era. But I thought he did well towards the back end of last season. I think he has, you know, started this season, you know, quite well as Fred. But I do believe, you know, Fred is more mobile and better on the ball than Nemanja Matic. I think he's a better option than Nemanja Matic. And my opinions on Andries Pereira, you know, I think he's quite good, Andries Pereira. You know, obviously he gained a bit of more experience. Obviously, I thought he did well on his loan spells, you know, with Granada and Valencia. Then did Andries Pereira and that. But yeah, I've got a lot of concerns about our midfield. I think Matic is another player, you know, that shouldn't be at the football club, because I think Matic is too slow. He's too inconsistent, and he's too slow as Matic, and he's not getting any younger. You know, he's aging up and that. You know, people talk about, you know, how experienced he is. You know, he has, you know, we have seen glimpses of how good he can be. You know, Matic is, you know, he won a couple of titles and that with Chelsea and that's good in that aspect. But, you know, I've just got a lot of concerns about Nemanja Matic. So I don't think he's now first choice anyway, you know, due to his inconsistency. So I definitely believe, you know, we need to address that midfield and that. But, you know, my opinions on Paul Pogba is, you know, he's a very imperative player anywhere. And, you know, we have seen him at his best as a Manchester United player. And when he is at his best, Paul Pogba, you know, he is one of the best midfielders in the world. And, of course, he's like two players in one. But I think you mainly see the best of Paul Pogba, you know, when he's freed up and that. And I think Paul Pogba is really good at scoring goals. When he's on form, he can provide assists. You know, he's really good at feeding the attacks and that. And, you know, he's a very imperative player in that. You know, Paul Pogba could still possibly, you know, leave the football club and that. Obviously, like I said, for the entirety of the summer, you know, Real Madrid have been in for him. But I did say, due to the substantial amount we've put on Paul Pogba, this could be the stumbling block of Paul Pogba leaving Manchester United. Some reports quoted out saying that wanted around 150 million for Pogba. Some reports said that wanted around 180 million for Pogba. That's just over double than what we initially paid for him from Juventus back in 2016 and that. But obviously we do know that Paul Pogba has been criticised. You know, he has been subjected to racial abuse online, you know, following his penalty miss against Wolves and that. So yeah, I think he's handled the situation well, to be fair, as Paul Pogba. But it was initially in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plan, you know, to build a side around Paul Pogba and that. Obviously, you know, throughout pre-season, Solskjaer had spoken a lot about Paul Pogba. He's also spoken to Paul Pogba himself, but throughout the course of the summer, that Solskjaer had spoken to the vast majority of the players. Obviously, Real Madrid has been Paul Pogba's first choice preference, and his likely destination has been Real Madrid. I know there has been talks about him possibly, you know, making a return back to Turin, you know, where he did have 4 good years. He hasn't mainly replicated this form at Manchester United, you know, let's be honest about that. But we do know that Real Madrid, of course, have spent a substantial amount this summer. You know, they spent £300 million on 5 players. You know, they have generated some of the money back of Real Madrid because they have sold quite a few of their players. But I don't think Real Madrid are willing to pay up to £180 million for Paul Pogba and that. You got Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola. You know, he came out at the start of pre-season and he said Paul Pogba's in the process of leaving the football club. This is what, you know, Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, said. But his agent has been in the process of finding, you know, him a new club, you know, throughout the course the summer and that. But yeah, you know, Paul Pogba confirmed a couple of months ago, you know, that he wanted to leave Man United. He did say, you know, he was seeking for a new challenge. You know, he publicly admitted, you know, that he did want to leave the football club and that. And he even did say a couple of months ago he was even willing to go out on strike, you know, to force a move away from Manchester United and that. You know, obviously Paul Pogba's brother Mayfish, you know, he came out the other week and he basically said, well, he gave his overarching view on the Paul Pogba speculation. He actually said that his brother, you know, does want to quit Manchester United and that. But yeah, there's still uncertainty, you know, regarding his future. But Paul Pogba has still got 2 years left on his contract with Manchester United, with an option to extend it by a further year. Obviously, he's our most expensive signing. He's not only the most expensive signing, you know, he's one of the highest paid players in the. He's one of the highest paid players at the football club. You know, he's also a World Cup winner and that. But it hasn't only been this summer that Paul Pogba's been widely spoken about and been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. Reflecting back last year, there was talks of Paul Pogba, you know, leaving the football club, you know, based on his poor relationship with Jose Mourinho and that. Because Paul Pogba did have a poor relationship with Jose Mourinho. And, you know, Paul Pogba got one of his best wishes, of course, when Jose Mourinho departed the football club. But I think there was also talks about Paul Pogba going back to Turin last year. There was also talks about him, I think, going to Barcelona in the January transfer window. But, you know, we have seen glimpses of Paul Pogba's best form, and I think he's been better this season. And I think, you know, Paul Pogba's stats were very, very impressive last season. You know, he scored 16 goals and provided 11 assists, you know, in 47 games in all competitions and that. You know, the silverware he has won with us, obviously, is the Europa League and the League Cup. Obviously, that came his second season with Manchester United and that. But yeah, the transfer saga about Paul Pogba, you know, does continue to persist. But yeah, we know we've definitely got to address that midfield and that. But you know, we have got quite a few injury problems. We have got quite a few injury problems now. Like I said, Martial's just sustained a thigh injury. Luke Shaw reportedly has got a hamstring injury. Obviously, we're doing all that. Eric Bay is out with injury until Christmas. Obviously, he's got a knee injury. He sustained this knee injury in one of the games in pre-season. That. And my overarching view on Eric Bay is, you know, he's a very, very imperative central defender in that. And you know, when he's fully fit, you know, he has got great potential and he holds his line really, really well. But I think Eric Bay's Manchester United career has been mainly affected, you know, with the amount of injuries he has sustained. I think it's really taken its toll on Eric Bay, and also, you know, with his fallout under managers. So I think he's actually not out of favour now at Manchester United is Eric Bay, and I think we would be open to selling Eric Bay. You know, we would be open to selling him. I think, you know, we'd probably look to at least recoup the initial £30 million that we did pay for him from Villarreal back in 2016. Obviously, Eric Bay now is in his 4th season as a Manchester United player. But yeah, he's really, really injury prone and that. Obviously, Diego Dalot, obviously, you know, he's out, I think, until after the international break. That got confirmed before the Crystal Palace game. I don't know what type of injury Diego Dalot's got. Obviously, we do know Diego Dalot, well, he will definitely not get given his chances this season, Diego Dalot. I thought Diego Dalot performed well towards the back end of last season, but I think Diego Dalot's versatility is good. He is predominantly right back, but he can also play as a left back. He can also, of course, play as a right winger, you know, can Diego Dalot, and he played on that right wing, you know, quite a few times towards the back end of last season. But we know anyway, Diego Dalot isn't our first choice right back. It's obviously Wan-Bissaka that's our first choice right back. Then obviously we've probably got Ashley Young as a backup. You've got Diego Dalot, that's one of the backups as well. But you know, we have got quite a few full-backs in our team and that. But now with Luke Shaw, you know, that hamstring injury, you know, actually now Ashley Young, you know, could play. Or it could be Ashley Young now that plays, because obviously Dalot's injured. Like I said, Luke Shaw's injured. So now he may go with Wan-Bissaka at right back, and he may, you know, put Ashley Young at left back unless Darmian, you know, gets the opportunity. But obviously, no, Darmian is served his 2 requirements at Manchester United and that. Maybe Rojo could get given the chance, you know, to play at that left back position. I don't know, because obviously Rojo can play him as a left back. Don't forget. We've also Sanchez, I think, still injured. Like I said, he's working on full fitness. Obviously, we do know Fossil Mensah is a long-term absence. I think also Lee Grant, of course, is still injured. So we have got quite a few injuries in that. Like I said, Fossil Mensah's out. But we don't want to get too many injuries, you know, that's for sure. And like I did say, you know, we have got big ambitions for the future, and obviously we want to get back to winning silverware and that, you know, and this is something, you know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, wants to bring back to the football club and that, because obviously, you know, the dimension of this club, obviously the history of this club, you know, we should be up there competing and of course winning trophies and that. And like I said, you know, we have been inconsistent in the last 6 years or so now. And I hope to say Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the right man, to get Manchester United, back to where they currently want to be. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is our fourth manager, since Alex Ferguson's retirement. Obviously, 3 managers have already been sacked from the football club, and we're not really known for a sacking club. And like I said, we haven't got the structure to keep sacking. We haven't got the structure to keep sacking managers. And I do love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a lot. He knows the traditions of the club. He knows everything about the football club because he was a great player for Manchester United for 11 years. Under the Alex Ferguson era, and he flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance. And Solskjaer did say that he is following Alex Ferguson's philosophy and that. And Solskjaer's got a bit of experience as a manager. He did well last season when he was the interim manager in his first 3 months at Manchester United and that. Obviously, won his first 8 games whilst he was interim manager. In total won 14 out of 19 games. Whilst he was interim manager. And obviously at the end of March, earlier on this year, he got the job permanently. Then we only managed to win 2 games out of 10. So it's obviously all gone wrong, since he has got the job permanently and that. But he also won a couple of Norwegian titles there with Mold, so that was a great achievement and that. He also managed Cardiff, so he only had a really short tenure with Cardiff, but he didn't really work out for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Cardiff. But I'm hopeful that he can obviously succeed at Manchester United. I'm very, very hopeful about that indeed. But like I said, I think the young players, will get given their opportunities this season. I think, they should do well this season. I think, in my opinion, they can become a fruition this season, the young upcoming players. I thought the young players, did really, really well throughout pre-season. That, the likes of Mason Greenwood, it got confirmed at the start of the season, he's going to be assured more playing time this season, which is absolutely great news. Mason Greenwood, of course, he's only 17 years of age. Obviously, with Chong, I do believe, he should get given his opportunities. A lot of Man United fans have actually said that, we should orchestrate on loaning a couple of the young upcoming players out, obviously because they believe it would be more beneficial for their career. It'll gain them obviously a bit more experience and that. But I think they should get given their chance this season. Greenwood's obviously played quite a few times so far this season. Obviously, with Angel Gomez, I also believe, he will be a big part of the squad this season as well. And I think the young players are going to become fruition this season. But we have got quite a few young upcoming players. We've also got a lot of experienced players. We've also got quite a few fringe players. But I do believe the majority of them, will get given their chances this season. I do believe we need to also sell one central defender. We definitely need to get rid of at least one central defender because we have got a lot of centre backs now. We've got around 7 centre backs. Obviously, we've got Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof. Obviously, we do know that Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof are our first choice centre back partnership. They're our first choice. It's Solskjaer's first choice. Of course, maybe in the cup games, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer may rotate a little bit as well. Obviously, we do know as well Alex Tuanzebe is a centre back, and I think Alex Tuanzebe will also get given his chance in that. Obviously, Alex Tuanzebe has gained a bit of experience because I thought he did well on his loan spell with Aston Villa last season. I thought the games he played in throughout. I thought the games Alex Tuanzebe played in throughout pre-season, I thought, it was quite impressive as well. But I think we're orchestrating on keeping him now for this present time, Alex Tuanzebe. But like I said, Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof, I think they're complementing each other, fantastically well. Obviously, Harry Maguire is our best option in that central defensive area at this present time, and that obviously we paid £80 million for Harry Maguire. Obviously, he's the most expensive defender in the world. So obviously, our second most expensive signing, just behind Paul Pogba. He's actually the second most expensive signing in the Premier League is Maguire. And I do believe, we did overpay for Harry Maguire. We did overpay for him. I did say maybe £60 or £70 million would have been a reasonable figure in this market at this day and age, but £80 million is too substantial in that. But I did say in these markets at this day and age, you've obviously got to overpay for certain players and that. And we're obviously one of the richest clubs in the world. We're a massive club, like I said. We've got massive revenues in that, so we can afford to overpay for players, and we can afford to overpay for players and also give players big contracts. So obviously, we have got players on big contracts in that. But I think obviously, I do believe Harry Maguire is going to succeed at Manchester United. Don't forget, he's under contract here for another 7 years. Well, it's a 6-year contract with an option of a 7th year in that, and I think he's going to do fantastically well. He's Harry Maguire, and I think he's regarded as one of the best centre backs in the Premier Premier League. He's regarded as one of the best centre backs in the Premier League. I don't think he is the best. I don't think he's nowhere near on Virgil van Dijk's calibre or level. I don't think he's quite as good as Laporte, but I think he's definitely in the top 4, top 5 category. Is Harry Maguire in that, and like I said, he had 2 good years there with Leicester, and I think he can definitely replicate this at Manchester United without a shadow of a doubt, because he's tall, which is very beneficial. I think his distribution's very, very good. He's Harry Maguire. He's not very fast, but I don't think that's a concern in that. But yeah, I think he's going to succeed at Manchester United. That's my opinions anyway. And Victor Lindelof, these question marks around him. Can he keep the consistency up? And I do believe Victor Lindelof can keep the consistency up. He was at fault for Crystal Palace's first goal and that. He wasn't so good in the Crystal Palace game, Victor Lindelof, but I think prior to that, he's mainly been good at Manchester United. I know he was inconsistent in his first season with the football club. He didn't really settle in, but then in his second season, I thought there was vast improvements in Victor Lindelof's game, and I think overall so far this season, mainly, he's also been very, very good as Lindelof. So I think he's flourishing at Manchester United, is Lindelof. We've also got the likes of Chris Smalling and Phil Jones. Obviously, we do know they've been 2 long-serving players at the football club. Obviously, Smalling's been here 9 years. Phil Jones, of course, has been at the football club 8 years and that. So both players have obviously nearly been here a decade, and we have seen glimpses of how good they can play. But obviously, Smalling and Jones are going to find game time now very, very difficult indeed. I think in that aspect, it was bad business from us, giving Smalling and Jones, new long-term contracts last season. Obviously, we do know both players have won everything domestic. They've won everything Englishly, domestically, they've won everything at Manchester United with Chris Smalling and Phil Jones. But I do believe they're no longer good enough to represent Manchester United now, and they are too inconsistent in that. So I think obviously they both need to leave the football club. Obviously with Rojo, I think he's definitely one player that needs to leave Manchester United. With Marcus Rojo, I've got the same thoughts about Bale, like I said earlier on in the video. Rojo's Manchester United career has been mainly affected. The amount of injuries he has sustained. Rojo's versatility is very, very good in that, and he's just got under 2 years left on his Manchester United contract as Rojo. I don't think Rojo's yet played in the Premier League this season, but I think he actually played throughout pre-season. Rojo, to be fair, I'll credit him. He was quite impressive there, was Marcus Rojo. But like I said, on deadline day, I think Everton inquired about getting Marcus Rojo. I think actually, Rojo travelled to Everton's training ground and that. Obviously, we put a £25 million valuation on him, but obviously, Everton, didn't end up getting Marcus Rojo. So I think he's definitely one of the problematic players at the football club. I think he's made 70 odd appearances in the Premier League for Man United as Rojo, but he's one player that definitely needs to leave. My opinions on Matteo Darmian, he's also another player that needs to leave Manchester United because he's enjoyed a very, very difficult time there with the football club. Darmian hasn't really been given the chance, and that I think he's heading now into his 5th season now as a Manchester United player. He's Darmian's and that. But I think he's definitely one player that needs to go. So, I think we could maybe generate around 30 or 35 million pounds for the departures of Darmian and Rojo and that. But they're 2 players that are problematic, and they are 2 players, of course, that do need to leave the football club. They are definitely 2 players there that need to leave the football club and that. But like I said, we haven't had a great start to the season. It was fantastic throughout pre-season. We won 6 games out of 6. Scored 12 goals and only conceded 3. And now in the Premier League so far this season, 3 games played. One win against Chelsea. It was a really, really good win against Chelsea. 4-0 victory. Obviously, then we drew with Wolves 2-2. And drew with Wolves 1-1. Sorry, and obviously, lost to Crystal Palace at the weekend by 2-1. That is the first time we lost to Crystal Palace in Premier League history. That's the first time they've ever beaten us, of course, in the Premier League. And yeah, so that was very, very disappointing. So we've obviously won 1, drawn 1, and of course lost 1. Obviously, we've only managed to score 6 goals in 3 games and that. Obviously, like I said, we've missed 2 penalties in our last 2 games. Rashford missing against Crystal Palace. Obviously, Pogba missing against Wolves and that. So that was a shame to see. We have obviously got Southampton coming up, I think, this weekend. I think it's I can't remember the time of the kick-off, but I think is it this Saturday or is it this Sunday, the game against Southampton and that. So obviously it's very, very imperative that we can get back to winning ways in that game. Very imperative, that we can get back to winning ways in that game without a shadow of doubt. But we have, like I said,
got quite a few injury problems. But I do believe, Solskjaer, will rotate the squad this season. And, Solskjaer's formations, I think on a regular basis this season, Solskjaer is going to go with that 4-2-3-1. He may go with a 4-3-3 a couple of times, and he may go with other different formations. But I do believe this season he'll mainly, go with that 4-2-3-1 and that. He may even go with the formation of a 4-2-1-2. He could even use that as well a few times, Solskjaer. But some people know our best 11 and that, and we definitely know our best back line. Obviously Bissaka, Maguire, Lindelof, Luke Shaw, that's obviously our best back line. And in the midfield, you could say McTominay, Pogba, because I think they're playing well together, McTominay and Pogba. Then you could basically say then, if this is a 4-2-1-2, you could then put maybe Angel Gomez in an attacking midfield position. Then you could put, Martial and Rashford, of course, up front. That could be one of the best starting 11s and that. But like I said, yes, so we need to... I've been analysing this season so far, and I have seen slight improvements from Man United than what I saw last season, because obviously last season was a huge disappointment. Obviously, we finished 6th. Obviously, we didn't win any silverware, and of course, we failed to qualify for the Champions League. So I've seen slight, vast improvements. I think we do look a bit better in the attacking third in the pitch, because now obviously we've got that pace in that attacking third in the pitch, and that's something. Well, that's last season wasn't that pace, and this is why last season we wasn't scoring enough goals. This is why I wasn't ruthless enough in front of their goal, because we lacked that pace and that. I think we need someone in that can create more chances. I still believe we're not creating enough chances as we should be in that. Even though we did obviously have over 20 shots against Crystal Palace, and obviously we had the majority of the possession against Crystal Palace and that. But we have now got that pace up front, because you've got Daniel James with electrifying pace, you've got Martial with good pace, you've got Rashford and that with good pace. And I think Rashford, apart from the penalty miss against Palace, I think he started this season really, really well. Scored 2 good goals against Chelsea. Did Marcus Rashford. So he scored 2 goals so far this season. Rashford, I know he was inconsistent in the last couple of months of last season, just like Martial was, just like Lingard was. But, I still said at that point, Rashford is still the long-term solution for Manchester United. And my opinions on Rashford is, he's good at receiving the ball. He can get them runs in behind, when he's at his best form. And he's still only 21 years of age. So Rashford, of course, has still got a lot of development in him. Of course, he's been a Manchester United player, Rashford, since the age of 7 and that. Obviously, he's been in the senior squad of us, since 2016 and that. So Rashford is still a very imperative player, but the likes of Rashford, Martial have still not quite emulated to that level yet, so they are still developing, but they are developing, really, really well. But we have now got that pace up front, and I do also believe that we'll look better defensively. We'll look slightly better defensively, because last season we conceded 54 goals in 38 Premier League games. That was our highest total in 4 decades. So that just proves the issues, we had defensively, obviously, before we brought Harry Maguire in. But, I'm happy that we've addressed our defensive deficiencies, like I said. I'm happy we've got that right back in. But I'm just really, really infuriated that we didn't get that get at least one midfielder in, throughout the course of the summer and that. So that midfield, does really, really concern me a lot. But like I said, in the last 6 years, we have been a toxic football club, and, there has been cultural problems, in the last 6 years, and that, a hell of a lot of money has been spent at the football club. £148 million has been spent this summer, obviously under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Just under £400 million was spent under the Jose Mourinho era on 11 players, and obviously them 11 players I think are still here now. Well, actually, no, they're not 10. I think 10 of those. 10 of those players. 10 of those players, are here from the Mourinho era, because obviously Lukaku left for Inter Milan a couple of weeks ago and that, but Solskjaer's still inheriting 10 of Jose Mourinho's old players, and I already give you the reasons why it didn't work out under the Jose Mourinho era and that. I've already given you the reasons why it didn't work out, because obviously even though Mourinho's got that proven pedigree and that, obviously he won stuff everywhere he's managed in that Mourinho. Because Mourinho had bad disputes with the board, he also had bad disputes with the players. Reflecting back last summer, the board weren't backing the signs that Jose Mourinho wanted to recommend into the football club. And, like I said, our recruitment policy has been poor in the last couple of windows and that. And throughout the course of summer, Solskjaer had been talking about our recruitment policy and that. But yeah, and obviously there was no sort of winning philosophy under Mourinho, there was no sort of transfer strategy under Mourinho, and it was obviously part of the bus football under him. So these are the reasons why it didn't work out under him. Obviously didn't exceed expectations and that, and he still won the Europa League and League Cup in his first season though with Man United and that. Obviously under Louis van Gaal era, obviously a substantial amount was spent under Louis van Gaal era, you know, just over £200 million was spent under Louis van Gaal. You know, he brought quite a few players in, and that, you know, he brought Martial in. Martial, of course, is still here now. Obviously, Martial actually scored 17 goals in his debut season for the football club. He brought the likes of Memphis Depay in. Depay enjoyed a very, very difficult time at Man United. You know, he brought Falcao in, you know, who's obviously left now. You know, he also brought Di Maria in. That could have been one of the mistakes what Man United did, you know, getting rid of Di Maria, because I thought Di Maria started well under the Louis van Gaal Herrera and that. You know, obviously Louis van Gaal brought the likes of Luke Shaw in, obviously he brought Herrera in, obviously Herrera now obviously has left the football club. He also obviously, you know, brought Diamond in. I think he also brought Rojo in, did Louis van Gaal. Louis van Gaal brought quite a few players in, Schneiderlin, Sebastian Schweinsteiger and that. And, you know, Solskjaer's still inheriting, you know, some of them players there now. But, you know, it didn't work out under Louis van Gaal, you know, because he didn't really have the right philosophy, and I thought the football was turgid under Van Gaal. And then under David Moyes, we didn't really spend that much under David Moyes, you know. We spent just under £67 million. Obviously, we bought Fellaini and Juan Mata. Obviously, Juan Mata, of course, now he's still at the football club. Even though we know Juan Mata now is no longer first choice in that, obviously Juan Mata can play as a number 10, he can also play on the right, just like Jesse Lingard can. You know, Lingard can play in the number 10, he can also play out on the right. But Lingard's obviously, you know, preferred over you know, Juan Mata and that. Obviously, I said Juan Mata staying now anyway, because he's signed a new deal, didn't he? Was it a month or so ago? Now he signed a 2-year contract with an option to extend it by 5 years. I'm surprised we're, you know, give him a 2-year contract with an option of a 3rd year, you know, reflecting on his age, and that is Juan Mata now, what, 30 or 31 years of age. But I think Juan Mata has been a very, very good servant to the football club. He's made over 200 odd appearances for Man United. I think he's scored around 45 goals in that. Obviously, Juan Mata with us has won the FA Cup, the Europa League and the League Cup with us. And I think he's been, I think he's still a very, very imperative player. And I think Juan Mata somewhere online, you know, well, he will get given his chance this season, but I don't think he's guaranteed, you know, to start from the start. He'll probably come off the bench and that, Juan Mata. But yeah, you know, Juan Mata's still here from the David Moyes era and that. And, you know, we know Fellaini left in January. And obviously, there's still players here from the Alex Ferguson era that Solskjaer's inheriting. Don't forget, there's still De Gea here from the Ferguson era. We know now De Gea's staying, which is very, very good news. Smalling and Jones still here. Ashley Young, of course, is still here. So there's quite a few players still here, you know, from the Alex Ferguson era and that. So, like I did say to you, you know, regardless of who our manager is, you know, even if now we had a manager to the highest level, I still believe, you know, they would, you know, struggle with this current Manchester United squad at the moment, because I think this squad now is good enough for the top 4 finish, but obviously, you know, I don't think it's good enough to win the league. That's my opinions on that. But, you know, no one is going to ever follow Alex Ferguson's legacy. You know, we're never going to achieve what we achieved under Alex Ferguson, you know, for 20 odd years and that. We're never going to replicate, you know, what we did under Alex Ferguson. That's obviously, you know, something we've got to accept. But we just want to be back, you know, to being a competitive elite level football club. You can quite say Solskjaer is still in the process of rebuilding. He's still in the process of rebuilding that. But for me, you know, we need to see further investment in the January transfer window. But the one thing I was disappointed with, you know, throughout the course of the summer transfer window is that we didn't get a director, a sporting director in. And, you know, we was, for the majority of the summer, you know, we was in search for a sporting director in that. Because I did say, you know, we needed a structural change at the club. And, you know, there was quite a few names mentioned, you know, who could have taken that director as well. And I did say at the time it would have been beneficial to recommend someone in, you know, recommend someone who knows the culture of the club. Of course, someone who's got the experience and that. But there was quite a few names mentioned. But then obviously it turned out that we wasn't going to get a sporting director in, and obviously it confirmed that Ed Woodward, of course, had been overseeing our transfer business, you know, throughout the course of the summer. And of course, Ed Woodward, you know, did oversee our transfer business and that. But for me, Solskjaer definitely needs to be back in January. He also needs to be back next summer and that. And I think if we can get a midfielder in, or a couple of midfielders in January, maybe try and get a right winger in as well. I think maybe we possibly could challenge her for the league in the next year or two. But yeah, like I said, definitely further more investment is needed. But you know, if you look how much has been spent in the last 6 years at Man United, I think £968 million has been spent. You know, this is obviously including what we spent under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer this summer. £968 million is just under £1 billion. So if you want to take into account what we spent under Alex Ferguson, obviously, you know, it's way over £1 billion, you know, that we've currently spent on players and that. And, you know, like I said, we've got a history of spending big on players. You know, in recent years, you know, we paid £89 million for Pogba. You know, we paid £75 million for Lukaku. We've obviously recouped the money now back for him. You know, like I said, Fred's obviously one of our most expensive signings. Obviously, Anwan Saka's obviously in that list as one of our most expensive signings. He's one of our most expensive signings. Also, Di Maria, of course, he's one of our most expensive signings at the time. We paid just under, £60 million for him. Harry Maguire, of course, is one of our most expensive signings. So, yeah, we have got a history of spending big on players and that. But like I said, always spending big on players, doesn't always guarantee you success. And this has been proven with us, for the last 6 years and that. Quite a few people said at the start of the summer, we should be sensible with our recruitment. And £148 million on 3 players is quite sensible, to be quite honest with you. Obviously, the majority of that £148 million, obviously, got spent on Harry Maguire because we paid £80 million for Harry Maguire. We paid a reasonable figure for Daniel James. We got him for what, 15 million, with 3 million add-ons and that. So I thought, we got, Daniel James for a reasonable figure in that. 18 million pounds. I think he's going to succeed at Man United, and I think he'll become a fruition. And Daniel James taking a huge step in his career. Coming all the way from the Championship, to the Premier League and that. And I did say at the time I had concerns about him coming in and that. Daniel James, because I've got some reservations about him. I don't think he's really good at tracking back. He's not so good in the air, but I think his pace is good. He can get them runs in behind. He can score goals, and that, as he has proven so far this season. So I think he's definitely going to succeed at Man United. Is Daniel James, and that's obviously my opinions on that. But the main part of this video was to give you the latest news about Alexis Sanchez and that. So reportedly, Inter Milan want this loan deal completed within the next 72 hours. Now, Sanchez could be set to stay at Man United, and his loan move to Inter Milan could be in doubt due to Anthony Martial's thigh injury. So this obviously could be holding up the deal and that. But I still believe Inter Milan are in talks with Man United. Inter Milan reportedly willing to pay half his wages. We've said to Inter Milan we want them to pay the majority of Sanchez's wages and that. This is what we've basically said, and we're demanding Inter Milan to pay at least 5 million of Sanchez's wages in the loan deal and that. So this is what we've basically said to Inter Milan. But Inter Milan now are regarded as the favourites to sign Alexis Sanchez on loan and that. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribing as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.